Welcome back to Racecast, everyone. After a week off the racing, we are back this weekend for Imola. Now, if you are listening to us, give us 5 stars on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. If you're watching, give us a like, subscribe, comment down below, and make sure you follow us on social media. All the links are in the description down below.
All right, guys, welcome along to a brand new episode. We are back, and it is race week. It is Monday, and obviously you're going to be listening on Wednesday, but we can officially say it is race week. Luke, how are you?
Well, you mentioned it's Monday, bank holiday weekend.
You've had you've had quite a busy one, haven't you?
It's bank holiday weekend. That's all I can say. So I can't say I'm feeling fresh as a daisy, but I'm back off out today. But today we're here to talk about racing, and I am gassed that there is racing back this weekend. It just doesn't feel the same.
No, I haven't enjoyed it at all.
No, like I say, the thing I always say, I love that it's over like such a long period. Like it's 3 days of just, and really you start getting content from the Thursday because there's all the press conferences and like I love it.
I really like it. Before we talk about Imola, though, I've got you a gift because... Another one.
I did make one TikTok.
You did make one TikTok. So here you go.
Thanks.
Hopefully, don't show the address. Hopefully we can add to the collection.
You've already opened it.
Well, yeah, no, I had to check it. Because there's no point. It could have been something different, couldn't it? And I might have given you like a birthday card or something.
Well, yeah, but... Alonso, this feels like a gift for you.
No, it's cool. To be fair, it's...
that is cool, though. I'll show it up to your camera. If that's... Oh, amazing. Okay, that one.
It's cool, isn't it? So you're going to have a little collection. We've got K-Mag.
Yeah, we are building up a little collection. No, I like it. It's not shiny like the other one, though.
No, I know. I was a bit disappointed when it came through.
For those who are listening, it is a Fernando Alonso card. Yeah. So, no, we are building up a little collection. I think they're quite cool. And this is a little bit off topic, but I've been trying to look for my old Yu-Gi-Oh cards this week. I feel like cards are becoming a big thing. Logan Paul with the whole Pokemon thing.
People love the football ones as well.
Yeah, I think this is a good little collection that we're going to get going on.
No, I like it. I think we have a good little collection, and we can just keep adding to it. So, firstly, before we get started, I just want to say a massive thank you to Dan Dunmore, who obviously has been editing our videos. So thank you to you. You've done a great job. Welcome,
good guy.
Welcome to the team. Very good guy. Before we do look at Imola, let's talk about some of the news this week, because this one might make you laugh. Mika Hakkinen has come out this week and has suggested that Lewis Hamilton may seek a future away from Mercedes if the team's struggles are not rectified soon. He has also referred to him as a sulking Hamilton.
Well, even though he's the one that's just suggested he's going to leave, Hamilton has never said anything and always backed the team.
Yep.
He comes out and says, "Oh, he's going to leave."
He's going to leave because they're not performing.
He's sulking.
It makes no sense to me.
Well, that's his own narrative.
Where would he go?
If he were to leave? All right, firstly, if you're watching, where would you, if Hamilton was to leave, comment down below where you'd want to see him go. I know a lot of people will probably say Williams, so he finishes at the back every race or something. But where would you actually be interested in? Imagine him in a Red Bull, repping the cap, with Max Verstappen. But how interesting would that be? We finally get to see the two of them in the same piece of machinery. I think that would be...
From a neutral point of view...
Quality.
It would be amazing. I can see him, if he does leave, for me...
I personally don't see him leaving.
No, I think he's too invested in Mercedes, and I think what Mercedes have done for him over the last 8-9 years, it's hard to walk away from that.
It's a bit dramatic. Do you know what I mean? They're still the third best car on the grid. Okay,
second best at the moment.
Yeah. In terms of reliability, they probably pit Red Bull to that second spot because you've got to finish a race to get points.
Yeah,
that was very Will Buxton of me, but do you know what I mean?
That was very Matt Jackson. Something you would say, yeah.
But yeah, so it would be dramatic to be like, no, I'm not staying here after you just had 7 or 8 years of pure dominance.
I can't see it personally. I mean, Mick Hakkinen, obviously world champion. He was phenomenal back in his day, but I think you've really got this wrong. I can't see him going anywhere. But if he does, I know there was reports, and I may be wrong here, but there was reports a few years ago that he was interested in finishing his career at Ferrari. He's always been interested in Ferrari, and I don't know if that's true.
It's one of those things, isn't it, where especially like people from like this sort of era.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, Ferrari is the team. Do you know what I mean? They're
iconic in the sport.
When you think of Formula One, the first thing that comes to your head is Ferrari. So I could understand that. Not going to lie, I'd probably quite like it.
Would you?
I'd be on board with that. I think any other team is a step backwards. So I can, other than Red Bull in terms of power, so I couldn't really get behind like a downgrade. Yeah, but I would Ferrari. I think that's fairly cool.
I mean, I could see it. Other news: Carlos Sainz is expected to sign a new contract extension this week. It's apparently meant to be announced at Imola this weekend. For me, I think he deserves it. There was talk that it's going to be a 2-year contract. If he gets it, I do think he deserves it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And we can talk about him maybe not being at the level that Leclerc is at.
Yeah.
But we've already said as a driver partnership, that is, it's unbelievable. And look, Sainz actually started last season as the number 2, so to speak, and then he finished ahead of Leclerc on points.
I think one thing that's really important in a team dynamic is you need good chemistry between drivers.
Yeah.
You need team players, people who are actually willing to sacrifice their own, self-gain to help the team.
Yeah.
And I think those two drivers are very much like that. It'd be interesting to see how it goes throughout the year, because once Leclerc actually starts challenging more and more for the title, is he going to want to sacrifice, or is Carlos Sainz, if he, is he going to be told to be the second driver?
I think that there's got to come a point, actually, because I was saying there wasn't a lot going on Reddit, like over the week.
Oh, you've been looking at Reddit?
Yeah, it's this like forum website.
Oh, cool. Tell me about it.
I saw someone on there. Apparently, Ferrari has said it's too early to like tell people to concede positions. Like, they're not going to do that right now. They're going to allow them to race. But if it gets to a certain point and say Charles runs away with it, I think then it will get to the point where they'll start being like, right, you need to let him ahead.
Yeah.
Which I understand. There does come a point where, if, and we've seen it for years in Mercedes where, eventually Lewis would be so far ahead, the Bottas just had to concede these positions and follow team orders.
Yeah.
And, it is a team sport. That's it.
But it's been shown over the years, hasn't it?
It affects relationships and dynamics.
Oh, without a doubt. Because, you had Rosberg, Hamilton, that era, when Rosberg won the title, neither of them wanted to concede. But when you look back at in the past years, Barrichello, Michael Schumacher, Barrichello was always the second driver. He knew where he was. Mick Hakkinen, David Coulthard, he was always the second driver to Mick Hakkinen. So it's always been there over the years. But I think it's going to cause a bit more tension, I think, in Ferrari. It'd be very interesting to see whether they're still pally-pally maybe halfway through the season.
I think it could look... So the reason I think it will cause more tension is because this is not a situation where you've got a lot of teams are set up like where they've got the young guy with potential or even the good driver, and then they do have a driver that is either at the tail end of his career that they're using so the other guy can gain all his experience, or you've got the driver that is just quite evidently not as good. Whereas here in this Ferrari setup, you've got two guys. And I know I said it before that I think Charles is actually a step up from Sainz. But you still got Sainz 100% with the right car, still has the potential to win a championship.
Yeah, without doubt.
So you've got two championship capable drivers. He's not going to be playing second fiddle to Charles.
No. But I think if they are going to give him a contract extension at Imola this weekend, then I think it's fully deserved. And I honestly think it's a great bit of business by Ferrari, getting them signed up early. That actually, you have two drivers who you are backing. You are evidently just showing to everyone, we back these two drivers and this is our future.
These are two drivers that could be racing in those racing seats for the next 6-7 years.
Yeah, no, I agree. In other news, shall we quickly touch on TikToks? Because we've started being a bit more active on TikTok this week. And I think we might have triggered a few fans. Because
fucking dorks, a lot of them.
Can I just say early on, there were some comments saying, "Oh, look at these new Drive to Survive fans." We've been fans for years.
I didn't even watch Drive to Survive until last summer.
Yeah,
and it's been coming out for like 4 or 5 years.
But we've been fans for years, and the thing is, one thing we will always get on this podcast is our opinions. That's the whole point of this podcast, is that we will talk rubbish. We'll have our opinions. You may not agree with it. Some people were a bit like, with the Monaco one, for example, there wasn't that much of it. But your one you posted yesterday might have triggered a few people.
Pussies. So we'll start with the Monaco one because people are basically... We the other week said Monaco would be a lot better if you just took the barriers off. And if drivers ended up in the water, sick. At least we've got a bit of action.
You said you would give them life jacket. They'd be all right.
Yeah, like
that was fine.
No one wants them to die. No one wants them to get hurt.
No.
Crashing into the water must be nicer than crashing into a barrier.
Agree.
So if anything, we're doing them a favour.
Charles Leclerc would have said last year he'd prefer to go in water.
Yeah, because then his gearbox probably wouldn't have gone. I'm sure the water probably does some form of damage, but
the whole car.
We're just Drive to Survive fans, so we don't know.
Yeah,
but
what do we know? No, but it was interesting, and there was some actually really good comments back.
People were saying, let's see how the cars have actually
improved.
Let's see if they've improved a track like Monaco. Are we going to see closer racing there? Fair enough. Let's give it one season.
Yeah.
Let's see if it does improve it. Because also people are saying Monaco's worth it for the qualifying. Qualifying is exciting. I agree. But to then spend like an hour and a half of your Sunday watching like 20 cars follow each other, I'll just go to the overpass at the M25 or something and watch that. Do you know what I mean? There's no action.
No. But then a lot of people were saying, well, you just got to accept it for one weekend. But the whole point of wanting to watch a F1, full-year calendar is that you want to watch close racing and enjoyable racing week in, week out. So
and the thing is, you can't sit there as a fan and be like, we've got all these great tracks like Hockenheim, and then we're just going to the big money places like Las Vegas, Miami, Abu Dhabi, and whatnot, and the tracks aren't as good. You can't then be like, oh yeah, but Monaco, that's cool, prestigious.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing. Okay, it's got history. I understand that. But the reason we're complaining about these new tracks, and I know Monaco's not a new track, that's not what I'm saying, is because they're not racy, though. There's not a lot of character to them.
You want to see overtime.
Yeah.
What you've seen so far this season in Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and even Australia, really close racing, overtaking. That's what you want to see.
Yeah, Australia wasn't as good.
No, but the first two races were brilliant. I don't think you're going to see that in Monaco. Yes, okay, the qualifying is exciting. Don't get me wrong, I completely agree with that. What I don't enjoy, and like Luke touched on, is the just going round behind each other. There's no overtaking. And if the cars are slightly bigger this year, are you going to see you may see closer racing, but where are you going to overtake? It's going to be interesting. But yes, we'll give it 1 year and then we'll give our opinions. But I think we triggered a few people on that.
Monaco's coming up fairly soon, isn't it?
It's like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's not
3
long.
weeks, yeah.
So, we'll have a nice 10-minute episode talking about the race at Monaco.
And then your one yesterday you posted. Well,
so then last week as well, we spoke about the Mercedes positivity and how it's a bit annoying. And it is. Like, I don't care what these dorks say. Like, I stand by my point. It is boring. Firstly, right, I used an analogy where I was comparing, I wasn't even comparing, I was comparing it to another sporting team posting happy, positive messages after losing. I'm not comparing, I know they're completely different sports. Losing is still fucking losing. Do you know what I mean? If you're not winning, you've lost, you're a loser. And you're saying, what are they saying? Firstly, I love the DTS fans that know nothing about the sport comparing it to football. Football just isn't a good comparison here. Football doesn't have brand new regulations that mean teams have to redesign their players' aerodynamics. Obviously. I don't like, what's the point there? What I'm saying is if your team lost and were posting happy, positive messages, it would fucking wind you up.
But also,
and it would.
But also, at the beginning of the season, if you're a football team, and I'm not talking about football, well, I am to here, but if you buy new players, you are kind of changing your whole dynamic of your squad.
I could have used any sport. Tennis. I don't know. If you lose a game of tennis, you've lost. That is my point.
Yeah.
So it's annoying when someone is underperforming and being like, oh, that was a positive session.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
You're still triggered with this, aren't you?
I'm more triggered that people don't understand. Like, I'm not comparing the sports. I'm comparing winning and losing.
Guys,
across all sports, it's the same in anything. If I was playing a game of chess and I lost, I'm a loser. I'm not going to post like, oh, what a
close
great
game
session.
Yeah,
I'd be annoyed.
You triggered a lot of people. But guys, if you want to check us out on TikTok, it is actually good fun. So yeah, check us out. What is it? Racecast Clips.
Racecast Clips. There is a,
I mean, on a whole, there's some good comments. They agree with us. But remember, these are only our opinions. We're not saying we're knowledgeable. We're not saying that but we have our discussions each week about F1, and hopefully you guys enjoy this. But what we're trying to say is that we're entitled to our opinions.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Look, I like every single comment that is coming. Whether you really, really completely disagree and fucking hate what we're saying, still comment because
we like it.
We're not going to take it to bed. Do you know what I mean?
No.
We're not going to lose sleep.
Luke cried last night, but apart from that, he's over it now.
Get it out the system. No, so it's cool. Even if you are little dorks, I appreciate the comments.
We've got no views now. We lost all our subscribers because you called them dorks.
Not these lot.
No, these lot. The people who are watching now aren't. You guys are legends.
These are.
Yeah, the ones on TikTok. Okay. Shall we talk about Imola?
Yeah, I guess that is why we're here, really.
I'm really excited for this. The sprint race is back.
Yeah. Now, okay, so sprint races. Have we touched on that?
We haven't, no.
I think it's really cool. It extends the weekend even more.
Yep.
Gives us more action. I really don't like the fact that it, in my opinion, it makes qualifying semi-redundant.
Yeah, I get your point.
I think you do it. I don't know. There's something about qualifying where it's this 3-stint session, and it's quite tactical. You've got to do all these things to gain this position in the race, which is that's the holy grail. How far up can we get? And then you have a sprint race, 20 laps, where you could get off the line poorly, and now all of a sudden you're starting 5 places back. And it's like all that hard work in qualifying for nothing.
Well, I think you're trying to, you got to maximise everything in that qualifying to start in the best possible position, isn't it? So it's not for nothing, I don't think. I think it's very good. But you look at Hamilton last year in Brazil. If it wasn't for the sprint race, he wouldn't have gone on and won that race. That sprint race was brilliant. It gave him qualifying to where he was. He started at the back of the grid. He had that sprint race to get to where he needed to be, and he dominated in the race, didn't he? I think the sprint race is a good idea.
Okay, so that's good because you're using a positive situation that benefited you.
Yeah,
you wanted to see Hamilton win that race.
Yeah, but Mercedes did a positive tweet after that, and you loved it.
Yeah, because when they win. But the thing is you could spin that around, and as a Hamilton fan, Max won every single sprint that season.
Yeah. He got a lot of points from that.
Yeah.
He got a lot of points from that. So from a Red Bull point of view, it was really important in the title race last year.
Oh, massive. Well, it won them the title, essentially. But speaking about it objectively, I just don't know whether it just makes qualifying not as special. Because I also feel like there are cars that are so much better at racing than they are like getting that qualifying lap. And I mean, you could use the Mercedes as an example.
Yeah.
They look really, really not great when trying to set a fast lap. But racing-wise, they're good. So, you've got teams that, like, rely on qualifying to push them as far up the grid as possible so they have that starting position for the race. But then they've got to do this sprint race and then lose the position and then just start the race further back, and then because they haven't actually got that good a racing car.
Yeah. No, I get your point. Personally, I think it's a good added. I wouldn't want it every week, but I like it that it's sporadic throughout the year. That it gives you that extra opportunity to get more points. It gives you that extra opportunity to have a bit more, like Silverstone last year. It was an added extra, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So from a fan's point of view.
Don't get me wrong. I'll stand by it. Like, I love that there's more going on.
Yeah.
I would take a race every day if we can.
And we've touched on that, haven't we? We want more content as possible. Yeah. And if it's an over 3-day weekend and you're getting, your practices...
So I assume it's now like practice Friday.
FP1, FP2 on Friday, followed by qualifying on Friday. Qualifying will be between 4 and 5 p.m.
So they don't have FP3?
FP3 is on Saturday morning.
Oh, God.
Followed by the sprint race.
Okay.
And then obviously the race on Sunday. So you get 6 added things. So, it's one extra thing. But from a fan's point of view,
big thing.
It's more content you're getting and it's more exciting. My only thing is this year is obviously with the types of cars that they are, the new setups and, new designs. Are you going to have that much of a, like last year, for example, it was hard to potentially, or it's potentially easier to gain more places this year.
Do you think?
Well, I think so, because if you look at this year, no, I think I contradicted myself there. That's not what I was trying to say.
I swear that the whole series of this podcast, we've been talking about how overtake looks so much easier.
No, I think, but if you're looking at the top 3, because it's the top 3 who get points, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if it's the top 3, if you're going to constantly have these sprint races at the moment, it's either going to be Red Bull or Ferrari.
Okay, yeah. No.
So whereas last year you had the McLarens in that mix, so getting those points.
Yeah, but is that just because the McLarens were a touch more competitive last year?
Yeah, perhaps. I don't know. I just think it's going to, at the moment, Ferraris and Red Bulls are quite dominant in qualifying and that initial getaway. That actually, are we just going to see closer racing for those 20 laps and then it's not going to get any more points? Because look at Mercedes, for example, last week in Australia. It took them a good few 30 odd laps to get into that P3, and they had to wait for Max to actually finish and, retire and stuff.
Yeah. But then I think, a lot of people, and this is part of the problem, the sprint race is more just a spectacle because no one wants to go hard racing to win. I mean, what do you even get if you win it? I know it's not that many points.
No.
So no one is going to go hard racing for it's like 3 points or something. It's something ridiculous. Because if you crash out in this, not only are you then starting at the back of the grid for the race, you've also damaged your car and potentially made it irreparable for the race. So I just don't really understand.
I think it's 3 points you get.
I'm pretty sure it is 3.
I think it's 3, 2, 1.
Is it worth going racing for that?
I don't know, but I think it's another good way of setting up your car, isn't it? It gives you more alternative to see how you're going to benefit in the race on a Sunday.
Yeah.
So some teams love it.
But all I'm saying is I think personally, if I was racing, I'd be like, I just want to stay out of trouble here. Try and hold my position. This is the position I got in qualifying. So long as I hold it, haven't really lost or gained anything. I just don't want to crash because I need to be in the race. I need to be starting as far up as possible, which is where you are because that's your qualifying position. Let's just get to the end of the 20 laps or whatever it is.
So are you if they turn around and said, oh, would you like sprint races every week, every race? Would you be yes or no?
Okay, so in terms of the sport,
Yeah.
I don't think it's that good. In terms of content for viewers, I think it's great.
Yeah.
So I have like mixed opinions on it.
Because
Which I know this sounds well wishy-washy because I've sort of like slated it and then said, oh, but it's cool at the same time. But that's just, I'm very in the middle.
Because I think last year it was very our opinions were very different because obviously we weren't doing a podcast and it benefited Max a lot. So we were very against sprint racing last year.
Last year they were annoying.
However, this year, like, I'm quite excited for it. I'm excited that it gives us more content over the weekend. It gives us an extra race, an extra 20-lap race, or whichever. So I'm all for it this year. I'm quite excited about it. And Imola is such a great track. Let's touch on, obviously, last year. Guys, let us know, firstly, do you like the sprint race? Do you not? I feel like we mumbled our way through that sprint races and, you know.
Yeah, we did a little bit.
Yeah, it wasn't the most greatest analogy, so I apologise for that. But last year's race was brilliant because it rained.
Yeah,
they started off on wet. It was a wet race. Bottas got taken out by George. Hamilton spun. And then off suddenly we had the red flag. Then meant Hamilton could actually unlap himself, basically.
Yeah, it was. Well, I mean, he didn't get. He wasn't that far back.
No, but he was.
No, he was. Yeah, he was fucked.
Yeah.
It was a race. It was full of action from the very start because Max got a ridiculous start.
Yeah.
Because he was P3, and then he jumped both of them. Hamilton tried to go into that like chicane with him, ended up on the curbs, damage. Max was just pulling away.
And then the red flag.
Yeah, do you know why there was a red flag? Who crashed? You got one guess.
Latifi.
That's
not like him to crash.
Yeah, I know. How weird. But so Latifi crashes. Yeah, red flag. I'm pretty sure it was after that Lewis spun. After the red flag. Was it not?
No.
There might have been two red flags.
I think. No, because
there was a safety car and then a full red flag.
Yeah, full red flag. It was a red flag that actually benefited Hamilton.
Because, yeah, obviously he went off and then he put the power down to try and get out of it and sort of put himself in the wall.
Yep.
And then it took him ages to find a reverse, which again, I'm not a race car driver. Why is that so hard? To put the car in reverse? Or you just like flick through the gears, just put it into reverse and get out of there.
I don't think they have.
Yeah, but what do they mean find it? Like, do they not tell them where reverse is?
They need a new steering wheel.
Yeah, don't tell Sainz that. But
I honestly couldn't tell you why it's so hard.
If anyone knows why like it's well hard to get in reverse, can you just like DM us or something?
Let us know and we'll talk about it next week.
Because that didn't make sense to me. It's just sitting there for ages and I was thinking like, do something.
I thought he beached it.
Mate, he took so long that they actually on the scoreboard they put out.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they got rid of his time and just said out. Like he'd
yeah, they thought he was out.
Then eventually, like he starts reversing. You're like, fucking hell, he's woken up. Like,
but and that was his error, wasn't it? He made that mistake. Yeah. He made that mistake. But this weekend, I like Imola. I think it's a great track. Options for overtaking. It's fast corners. Well, not fast corners. Slow corners. Sorry, but I really like Imola. I think it's going to be a great weekend.
Out of the two Italian tracks, it's definitely the more exciting of the two.
Yeah.
Monza is just fast.
I like both of them.
I think Monza is cool because it's so quick, but it's not really. No. I'm not sure if it's like a racy track. Like, I prefer seeing drivers navigate corners. Personally, that's where errors are made. That's where you see, and to be fair, Christian Horner said it last season, like anyone can drive a car fast in a straight line. It's in those corners where you see the real skill of the driver.
Shall we talk about, and this is going to, I know this has already triggered you as well, we put a post up the other day because there is reports that actually Mercedes are still not going to bring any upgrades this weekend. Ferrari are potentially going to bring a new floor in this weekend to help with their porpoising. But
if Ferrari fix that porpoising, first and foremost, just everyone buy Ferrari merch.
You may as well just give up.
Because no one else is going to win. That car is already stupid.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And they've got, if they stop that porpoising, they've got more speed. Easy. I think you're losing time bouncing. No, I don't know how much time, but you're losing time.
Are you concerned that Mercedes potentially are still bringing no upgrades this weekend? Because obviously...
It wound me up a little bit, I'm not going to lie.
You know, they've had good results. And as we've said in the numerous damage limitations, they've got picked up points where they needed to. They're second in the constructors.
They've had luck in those results.
Granted, I completely agree with you. However, from a Mercedes fan point of view, it's not going to last forever.
No, and that's the thing.
And that's the concern.
So, Red Bull will fix this problem. It also might never happen again for whatever reason. Just because they've broken down 2 of the last 3 races does not mean they're going to break down again.
No.
In which case, they're just dropping points continuously. And there does come a point in the season where it's pretty impossible to recover. Now, I understand why teams are taking their time with upgrades. Actually, no other team really is, only Mercedes. But I understand it with the new cost cap, and they've got to really make sure they get it right. Apparently, the problem is there's discrepancies between the simulations and on-track performance. So they can't work out where that is. But the car in the sims is a second quicker a lap, which I'm pretty sure would make it the fastest car on the grid.
But then what you're seeing on racetrack is completely different.
And that's the problem. So, we can argue, okay, well, if they're a second a lap quicker in the sims, amazing. They've got to have that pace in there. Not necessarily, because clearly the simulator isn't representing real life anyway. So the car might not have that second. This might be the full potential of the car. I don't necessarily think that's true. Whether there's a whole second in there, I don't know.
What do you think of Mercedes' chances this weekend? Because obviously, if there is no upgrades...
Do you know why there's no upgrades?
No.
One of the reasons. Pretty sure it's Toto Wolff that said. Apparently, the car, they're not bringing them this weekend because they feel that the car will be strong enough on the track because of the slow corners. So, but again, that to me sounds like they're happy with just getting 5th and 6th.
Which is bizarre. A team like Mercedes. Are we just seeing a team at the moment writing off this year as we're learning, we're trying to get the best things for 2023, trying to find out the best setups, trying to find out the thing, what is best for it? And are we just going to see a team who are potentially just going to go for 3rd in the constructors? Or are we seeing a team who is doing a tactical mastermind and going by, Monaco, by Miami,
they're going to have a spaceship.
Yeah. I can't work out what Mercedes are doing. And it's driving me mad because with people like Red Bull, they're quite transparent in what their issues are. They're quite transparent in actually we will be looking at upgrades. This is what we want to do. Ferrari is very similar. But Mercedes, it's like, I have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, no. I mean, to be honest, there are 2 schools of thought here. Is that because they actually don't know what they're doing? All I'm saying is if there's a second gap between the simulator and on-track performance, surely you're confused as fuck.
Yeah.
I'd be like, that makes no sense. So where do we go from here? Because the simulator's not even working.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be quicker.
Scrap the simulator.
It should be the same. So, yeah, are they just keeping tight-lipped because they've actually got no clue what's going on? Or is it because they do have this secret plan where they know that once they've got this upgrade perfect, that's why they're pushing it back as far as they can, that they're going to be at the front?
Because George and Hamilton still don't look worried at all.
No, I know, which is weird, but again, is that just putting on face? Like,
Well, yeah, true. That's true. Shall we do F1 play for this weekend?
we can do.
Yeah.
We do it every weekend.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Every
Shall
race weekend.
Yeah, we do.
Should I just on upgrades though? Apparently, McLaren are bringing more upgrades.
Interesting.
That's what I've heard, and apparently they're it's another big step forward.
Do you think they still?
I don't think Mercedes can afford to have McLaren get much quicker.
No.
Or all of a sudden, Mercedes are going to be the fourth fastest. Because McLaren last week,
They look good.
and the fact that they went from being the slowest car on the grid at Bahrain, where it actually looked like it was over for them, to then be the fourth quickest, Alpine.
I think Alpine are going to. I think Alpine, you're going to see a real resurgence from them this weekend. I think they look good at Australia. Yes, it didn't turn out great for them in the end, but there is pace in that Renault engine, and I'm expecting them to have a good weekend this weekend.
Yeah, and I think Alonso is going to want to come back and be like, not having last week again or whenever.
But the interesting thing is strategy is so key, isn't it? In these race weekends at the moment. I know it sounds silly to say, but normally you could actually kind of get away with it and still make up pace. But actually, strategy is so key. And look what happened to Alonso. He went onto those mediums. They completely went, and he finished last.
Yeah, you've gone from having one of the quickest cars on the track, and all of a sudden you're last.
Yeah.
Like that, it does show how important it is to have a team that knows what it's doing.
Yeah.
And really, really understands what you need, what that car needs.
And what's really interesting is that I know we said McLaren did really well last weekend, but then there's actually teams in there who performed really well in race week 1 and 2 who didn't perform well last weekend. So are we expecting them to do well again this weekend? And, for example, Alfa Romeo, they didn't have a great weekend. Haas didn't have a great weekend. Are we expecting these teams to come back into the fold again this weekend? And are they going to be challenging the likes of McLaren?
I do think this is the greatest. This is going to be the greatest part of the season.
Yeah.
Where everything's changing constantly because everything's so new. Teams are finding out. You have McLaren at the back of the grid in Bahrain. 2 races later, they're looking like the 4th fastest car.
Yeah.
Then you've got the Haas who were giving Mercedes real problems in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. And then they were like barely even touching the points. I know Magnussen did all right in the end in Australia, but yeah, it's all this like everything. Albon getting points. What's that about? So like, do you know what I mean? We have no idea what is going to happen at the race this week. But what you can probably predict is that Ferrari and Red Bull are going to be at the front of the grid.
No, I think those two is pretty much a given that they will be there. But like you said earlier on, Mercedes are going to have to worry if they don't start bringing upgrades and they're just going to rely on the track to determine how well they're going to do. They can't do that for long because
there are going to be a lot of tracks where they just can't perform.
They can't. But then you're also going to see the likes of McLaren, Haas, Alfa Romeo starting to challenge for those positions.
Yeah. The cars are going to get quicker and quicker.
Yeah, I think this season could potentially be one of the greatest seasons from tactics, from performance, from racing overall.
And like the sheer unpredictability of everything.
Yeah. I still don't think it would beat last year of Max and Lewis. I think that was just phenomenal. But F1 play?
Okay. So every week, race week, we do this little thing called F1 Play. If you haven't heard of it, it's on their website. I think they've got an app.
Yep.
And they give you like 10 different things that you've got to predict for the race weekend ahead. We have got a code. We've got a little league that you can join. If I remember, I will put it in the description. If not, like, comment an angry comment and Matt reads them all and we'll get it to you.
I like the fact that you just think I sit at home and read every comment.
You do.
Okay, yeah, maybe I do. But I like it. I like the interaction with you guys. I think, you guys are commented. You've been really nice on the YouTube comments and Instagram. You guys have been brilliant. So, yeah, I really like it. So keep getting involved. Go on then.
Okay.
Hang on. Do you want me to ask you this time?
Can do.
Because it's always you asking me, isn't it? So, wow, this Star Wars thing. Predict your podium for the Imola Grand Prix.
Okay, so obviously last time for Australia, I was so convinced that we were going to get Mercedes upgrades. So I had like Lewis and George on there.
Yeah.
Which George actually did finish third. So I technically got that one right.
You did, yeah.
I'm not going to do that this week.
Okay.
Look, I'm not delusional. Do you know what I mean? I feel like right now, anyone but Charles at the front.
Okay, so you're going Charles first, yeah?
Yeah.
Second?
Well, it would always be Max, but I can't trust that engine.
Yeah. Okay, so who are you going for?
I'm going to go Sainz.
The boy.
And then... okay, here's my thinking here. I'm going to go Lewis because... Hang about. Hear me out. The Red Bulls, those engines have been dying. Something has been happening to them.
Yeah.
This week, they've got even more laps to do.
Yeah.
They've got to do an extra 20 laps, however many the sprint races is, something like that.
Then they've got 63 laps on the race day, yeah.
To me, I'd be worried about taking that car into the race, knowing that even when it's performed fewer laps, it's died.
Yeah.
So I'm going to, I'm sure they've done something to fix these problems, but I don't know that. So I'm going to assume that both Red Bulls are DNFing.
Both?
Both, yeah.
See, I think the reason why Max DNFs is because he pushes it way too harder than Perez.
Okay, well, Max will DNF, and then because Perez isn't pushing hard, Lewis will overtake it.
Okay. Who are you going for third then? Lewis?
Yeah.
All right.
It's just the reliability of those Red Bulls has got to be a huge concern for any Red Bull fan or member of the team.
No, it's fine. I'm going to go for Leclerc. I'm then going to go for Max and Sainz.
Yeah. Now, that's a safe bet.
Yeah. Right. Which driver will set the fastest lap?
Oh, Leclerc.
Okay. I agree with you on that one. Who will finish the race in the highest position? So Norris, Ocon, Alonso, Gasly, Vettel, Bottas, or Magnussen?
They put Vettel in there.
Yeah, I know.
Man. Norris. I mean, look.
Okay.
That car was strong. He's a quick driver. And you see that, he's a lot quicker than Danny Rick.
Yeah.
Who's also not a slow driver. If they've taken another step forward with another upgrade,
yeah,
the McLaren should be quicker than those
fine.
cars.
I'm going for Alonso. Who will finish the race? Same question. Who will finish the race in the highest position? Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Stroll, Albon, Latifi, Zhou, or Schumacher?
Latifi.
You're going for Latifi?
No. No, but that was talking about who's going to finish the race.
Yeah.
He's not going to finish.
Who will finish the race in the highest position?
I think Ocon, was he in there?
No. Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Stroll, Albon, Latifi, Zhou, or Schumacher?
I'm going to go Ricciardo.
Okay. Schumacher needs to have a good weekend. He needs to start getting some points on the board.
He is underperforming.
Yeah.
I'm a bit disappointed.
Okay. Which driver will be the first to retire?
Look. I've got to say Latifi, you can't... Out of the last 4 races, I'm going back a season as well, he's finished 1 race.
Yeah. Okay.
That's not great, is it? He's crashed in 75% of the last 4 races.
How many classified finishes will there be? 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13.
In every race this season, there's actually been quite a few.
Yeah.
Like,
see, I would go
DNFs.
for something like 16.
I think 16 is a really good.
Yeah.
Because Latifi, a Red Bull is going to go.
And Aston Martin is going to go.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, Tsunoda, there's always some...
He needs to start performing again. The boy needs to start performing. Like, I need to start seeing him. I really bigged him up at the beginning of the season, saying, I'm expecting a big season from him, and he's not doing it at the moment. Saying that, nor is the Alpha Tauris. Gasly's not as strong as he was, is he?
No, I'm sure they're probably a bit underwhelmed with how they've started the season.
Because they've had a real struggle, and I suppose it's in the same aspect as what Red Bull have had, but they've been well off the pace. But they've got that Red Bull engine, powertrain, whatever it is. That thing is quick. Yeah, but again, it's not reliable.
No.
And that's the issue. Will there be a full-on track safety car period?
Ooh, I'll be surprised if there isn't.
I think there's going to be. I think
slow corners tend to provide a few more accidents because it's where people think they can dive down the inside and get round, and that you have little comings together that like all it's going to take is for like a bit of debris in the track.
And you showed last year that down that straight for what happened with Russell and Bottas.
Yeah.
Overtaking is a slight adjustment to your,
all it takes is
Carlos Sainz steering wheel.
Grass, and that's it.
You're gone. So you think there will be a full-on track safety?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the weather forecast is.
It's meant to be rain.
Is it?
From what I've heard.
Oh,
it might
definitely.
have changed. What will be the winning margin in seconds? Because obviously the last time you predicted that it was going to be quite close, but there was a massive gap. I know even if Max, as you said, had finished that race, he would have still been like 20 odd seconds behind.
Yeah, no, it was big. And last season, I'm pretty sure Max won the race by like 22 seconds.
Yeah. See, I would go for 20 seconds plus.
But the thing is, like, I fucking hate stuff like voting for that because I don't want that to be the case. I want to see Jeddah every race. I want to see
that close racing.
Yeah, you don't know who's going to win the race. Literally on the last lap.
Yeah.
On the last lap, Leclerc could have taken it back. Max only overtook him a few laps before. I just don't enjoy it as much when someone's well out in front.
Yeah, no, I agree. So what are you going for, 20 plus seconds or 12 seconds?
Is there like a 3?
There's a 2 to 4, 4 to 7.
I'm going to go 2 to 4 because that's what I want to see.
No.
What do you mean no?
No, it's going to be like...
I know, but like I'm trying to manifest it.
There we go. Guys.
Is that done?
Yeah, it's done. That was 8 questions.
I thought it was 10 questions.
No, 8 questions.
Oh, well... I actually want to ask you a question.
Go on, ask me a question.
Every week.
Hang on, can I just say, last week you said that you've got me a gift coming.
No. I said I'm going to get a gift.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to get me a gift? Or you're getting a gift?
I was going to get a gift.
Oh, okay. I got quite excited. I thought last week when I was listening back to the podcast, I thought you said that you were going to get me a gift. So I was like, oh, wow, he's actually going to buy me something. I realised that you are still a cheapskate and you're not going to buy me anything.
I'm going to get a gift.
Okay, fine. All right, I'll take that back then.
Shock driver of the week. Who's going to surprise us?
I think last time you asked me this, I think I said Mick Schumacher, and he disappointed me. Shock driver of the week. I think Zhou. I think he's been consistently good. I think he's had a P10 and P11. He's been consistent. Yeah. So I'm expecting him... Don't get me wrong, I don't think he's going to get like top 4, top 5, but I think he'll have a strong finish.
So you think he's getting points?
I think he's getting points, and not just 1 point. I think if he can get like top 7, top 8, I think he's been... And this is something which we touched on last time. Whenever you're new in the sport, if you can actually start having consistent races, being reliable, finishing races, performances will start to come. And I really believe that Zhou has that talent. I mean, it's hard to come into this sport. Bottas wasn't that great in Australia, but, it's very hard to come into the sport, especially with the new cars, tracks you haven't raced before, and actually be consistently top, 10, 11. That's hard. Yeah,
and I think with new drivers especially, you see it. If they come into the sport and they're crashing out early on, I think their confidence
just goes.
Yeah.
Look at Tsunoda last year.
Yeah. And so, for him to come in and just, consistently chip away.
Yeah. Mazepin last year, like he struggled.
Yeah.
But I've been really impressed with Joel that he's come in and he's been under the radar. He got points in his first race, and he's just slowly I think we're going to see a good performance from him this weekend.
Yeah.
How about you?
Shock performer of the weekend.
Charles Leclerc.
Well, that would be a shock, would it? Could say Sainz though. I'm not sure because I want to say one of the McLarens, but then I'm not sure. Would that be a shock?
Well, I think it would be because obviously they haven't performed well this year. You've got to remember, we've got to forget what's happened last year and actually going by this year. So for the McLarens...
But Lando drove really well last year.
Yeah.
So I think we could see... I think Lando could surprise us. And if also the McLarens have taken this stride that I've read about, again, we could see them maybe a bit further up. Could he be challenging for a podium?
Yeah, I mean, I can't see a McLaren getting a podium. In all honesty,
it would have to entail the Red Bulls DNFing.
Yeah, but then I still think Mercedes will be there.
Yeah, but if McLaren are
Bringing
making
that
these,
you
just never know.
You never know in this sport, do you?
So I'm going to say Lando Norris. He's going to be my shock performer of the week.
Okay, I think I would like to see Norris get a podium. I'm a big fan of Norris. I'm a big fan of McLaren. I would like to see Norris get the podium. Do I think it'll happen? No. But if he does, I'll be very happy with him. Should we do fan questions?
Yeah.
Because...
Have we got... Where are they? Instagram.
And I know last week, guys, I said that actually we're going to do something different this week. However, we've almost been talking an hour, but... There is something we are going to do on the podcast, which is what I discussed with you yesterday, which will be quite interesting. We're going to... Shall I tell him?
You can tell
him. Tell him. So over the next few weeks, we're going to be doing a podcast discussing our best grid. So we're going to pick 20 drivers from past and present, and we're going to actually discuss who we think, if we had our ideal weekend, who we would want on that grid.
Yeah.
I think I've already got some bangers of names on there.
Yeah, I've got a few.
Yeah.
I think, are we going to do it combined so we don't each have to think of like 20?
No, it's our combined, and we have to agree and disagree. So that will be coming. And the battery has died. So
it's fine. Just use that.
Yeah, that one. Okay, fine. Fan questions?
Yeah. Okay. So early weather, and we touched on this a little bit, but he wants to know what our thoughts are. Early weather forecast for Imola seems to be rain. What bearing will this have? Now, I think we haven't seen the cars in rain.
No.
These new cars.
And if it's anything like last year, we're in for a treat. I honestly think we are in for a treat this year. We don't know how well, as you said, the cars doing wet.
It could literally completely change the outlook of the grid.
Yeah.
Because the Ferrari, for whatever reason, might be absolutely terrible in the wet.
Yeah. No. I think it's going to be really interesting.
And the Alpines might be amazing.
Mercedes might do well with the wet. And I think this comes down to driver dynamic as well, how good you are in this weather.
Well, George is obviously last season that at Spa, he put that lap in.
Still outrageous lap. How he did that, how he put that, what, is he second on the grid then?
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
Lewis has always been pretty good in the rain.
Max is lethal in the rain.
Yep.
So if it is rain, I think we're in for a treat. I really do think we're in for a treat. And it'd be really interesting to see how these cars do in the rain because...
And there's 100% crashes, by the way.
Oh,
if it rains.
Without a doubt.
100%.
Who we think? Who's your top three for crashes? Bottas has got to be up there because he likes rain and he likes crashes. Latifi and Stroll.
Yeah, I think that's probably that's the most likely, isn't it? Bottas, I don't know. I'm not going to drag Bottas down with those guys.
Okay.
I think you're more likely to see one of the rookie drivers go. Mick, Tsunoda, Joe.
Okay, all right.
I think Bottas.
To be fair, Bottas hasn't got a helper team, has he, this year?
And it wasn't even his fault last year.
He took out 6 of them. Not in I mean in general. I'm talking overall crashes in the rain. I'm not just talking about
But last year at Imola, that was George's fault.
Oh, without doubt.
Yeah.
Without doubt, yeah. Without doubt, yeah.
Guy like slapped him and called him a prick. It was your fault, mate.
I still love that bit where Bottas gets out of the car and he's looking like, what just happened? What just happened? It was
Well, yeah, because George slaps him and he just like that. Yeah. But yeah, no.
So good.
I think you're likely to see one of the newer drivers go out. And, you know, you can bet on the races and shit, can't you? On like Bet365 or whatever, Sky Bet. Not endorsing anyone.
I believe so, yeah.
Can you bet on like who's going to crash?
Of course you can, I think. Or first to retire. It's probably first to retire, not first to crash.
Not that I'm endorsing gambling, but stick a tenner on Latifi. You might come back and thank me.
You could be paying off your mortgage.
Yeah. Well, I don't think the odds will be that good. Probably get like 12p back for betting a tenner. But yeah. No, if it is raining,
we're in for a treat.
The weekend is going to be amazing.
Yeah. As long as we don't have like a Spa scenario last year where we have to go around by safety car and then they call it. As long as it's not that bad rain.
I don't really understand this question, but you might. So I'm gonna say it and hope that you interpret it and then make it understandable for me. Is Sainz now the Red Bull Gasly? Oh,
yeah.
What
he means by that is
he just not very good in a quick car?
Yeah. Because obviously with Sainz over the last 2 years, where was he? He was Renault. No, he wasn't. He was with McLaren, but before that he was with the other version, Toro Rosso. So they're basically saying is Sainz, going to be like a Gasly, that he needs to go back to somewhere like McLaren where he can perform really well, but he's not that good in the top car. I think that's a bit harsh. Because,
I think that's way too early to say as well.
And I think Sainz is a top driver. And I still believe you will see the best out of him. And he showed quality last year in that car. And I do think you will see the quality come soon. Give him time.
To be fair to him, I don't think he's necessarily not shown his quality.
No.
He finished second in Bahrain and he finished third in Jeddah.
Yeah.
And okay, he had a terrible weekend in Australia, but it's because he had a new steering wheel.
Yeah, and he struggled.
One wasn't round.
But I don't know. I think that's a bit harsh. I think Gasly deserves another opportunity in a top team. If he does not get Red Bull next year...
Well, he'll be off. He won't be staying at AlphaTauri.
No.
I think you could... Here's a curveball. Could you see him replace Danny Rick at McLaren?
Yeah.
Because to me, that's a step up.
And it would make sense. Two young, good drivers there.
Yeah.
You've got Gasly, you've got Norris. If you want a great driver pairing, that is a solid pairing.
Because I think we've both agreed that this is probably Danny Rick's last season at least a competitive team.
I think it has to be. Unless he actually turns it around and performs some sort of miracle this year. If you're a McLaren and you're actually wanting to go for podiums and you're going to want a challenge for titles and constructors, you can't rely on Danny Rick.
No. Yeah, no.
And that's not me. I really like the guy, but if you're a top team who are challenging and you want to be the best out there, you have to have good driver pairings. You look at Mercedes, Hamilton and Russell, Sainz, Leclerc. I still think Red Bull are slightly weaker with Perez, and I think they need to find out who would be a good pairing for Verstappen. I still think Gasly could do a job there.
But I think the thing with Red Bull is they're a bit like Mercedes have been for the last 4 years or whatever.
You've got a good second driver.
Yeah, you've got a top driver.
Yeah.
And then you've got someone that doesn't mind being second fiddle, really. They're consistent.
Yeah.
Perez is consistent. He's always chipping away. But he's never going to compete with Max.
No.
You've got to be realistic.
Not in the slightest.
Do they want someone to compete with Max?
No.
And that's the thing.
Don't go near my boy.
So Perez is perfect.
Yeah.
Are they going to want to bring Gasly in? Is Gasly going to want to play second fiddle to Max?
Not in the slightest.
So, yeah, I think you see.
And Gasly's got a lot to prove now. Gasly has got a lot of anger, I think, to show, because after how it happened last, being dropped by Red Bull, and I think he thought he was a sure win for that second position before Perez took it. I think he thought that, that's his seat.
What, after Albon?
After Albon.
You thought Gasly was going to get it back?
Well, he had a really good season, didn't he? He had a really solid season. And I think that he thought he was going to, potentially get back in there. But obviously it hasn't happened.
Yeah, and to be fair, I'm not even sure if that would have been the best move by Red Bull.
No.
So they get Gasly in. Well, because who was it? So they had a Kvyat, who was crap.
And then Max Verstappen decides to date his girlfriend.
Yeah, so Max stole his seat and then his bird. Then Danny Rick left.
Yeah, he left.
Then that's when they brought in
Gasly, then Albon.
Then Gasly wasn't good in that car at all. So then they brought in Albon, who wasn't good in that car at all.
Yep.
Well, they can't just bring Gasly back. What sense would that make?
Well, okay, valid point. I just think that Gasly.
Now it makes more sense.
Yeah.
Because now he's had a couple of years away. I feel like there's been a lot more time for development where he can actually be like, look, I've been racing for your little crap team for the past 2 years and I've actually been putting in performances.
Yeah.
I think now is my chance. And I think he has earned it, but I personally don't see him getting that Red Bull seat.
Okay, so I just had a look. So in 2016, Danny Rick and Danny Kvyat were there.
Yeah.
Max Verstappen came in from Toro Rosso.
Yeah.
2017 was Ricciardo and Verstappen.
Yeah.
2018, Ricciardo, Verstappen. Then 19 was when Ricciardo left, and that season you had Verstappen and Gasly, and then you had Alex Albon.
Because they got rid of him halfway through the season.
They did, yeah.
Which is brutal.
But this is where I stand. So 2020, you had Verstappen and Albon. So this is where I thought, because 2020, Gasly was solid for the AlphaTauri. That's where I thought it would be a good move to bring him back, because it's a year and a half he's out of the team and he can come back into it. But then since then, they've had Perez.
I personally think that was the better move. Get a different driver in. You just had two stinkers. Let's get someone in who is actually like proven on the track.
Yeah.
For years. Perez has been in the sport for years.
And in all honesty, he deserved his opportunity at a top team.
Yeah. He had never really had it. And then he took the racing point
to a whole new level.
Yeah.
No, yeah, okay, I agree with that.
I think it was a smart move. But back to the main question, is Sainz now the Red Bull Gasly?
No.
Bit harsh, I think.
Yeah.
The problem is it's really hard to read with my okay. So I've got a broken screen. Rank these drivers in the wet. Stroll, Verstappen, Russell, Lando, and Mazepin, but he doesn't race anymore.
Max?
Yeah, it's got to be. Because the thing is, what I love about Max in the wet, and I don't know how he does it, he's still just as aggressive.
And he finds lines which no one else would take.
Yeah.
Which is really bizarre. Like, I remember in his rookie years, he was taking lines on the outside, going around corners, and I was like, what are you doing? Like, it's outrageous.
And you saw, was it Sochi last year?
Yeah.
Well, I know he made the early call, but he
was rapid.
He started last.
Finished second.
And he finished second.
Yeah, he was outrageous. I want to say Norris second, but the issue is he had a stinker in Sochi.
Yeah, but that was him he was desperately holding on to that
win.
pole.
I would put Norris second.
Yeah.
Who was the other one?
Stroll, George, and Mazepin.
Oh, actually, no. Max, George, Norris.
Well, George proved it at Spa that he really can find pace in the wet.
So George would be second, Norris third, Stroll, Mazepin.
Yeah, I think putting Mazepin above anyone.
And Stroll even on there is like, yeah. But yeah, George, I would say George and Max are probably one of the best in the wets.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Who on the grid do you think is the next to retire?
Vettel.
Really? Do you think this will be his last season?
Yeah, well, we touched on it last episode, didn't we? I think he's showing that actually, if he has a poor season, and I mean, in all honesty, Aston Martin aren't improving at all, are they? You know, he's not going to want to continue being like that. And we did touch on it that actually this is his legacy. His legacy, you know, was how dominant he was in that Red Bull, and now he's, as you keep mentioning, your favourite word, driving this tractor that actually it is so poor.
I think he should have left the sport after that last year with Ferrari.
2018. 19, yeah.
Nah, 2020.
Oh, you talk about, sorry, I thought you meant when he was reasonably dominant. Sorry, you're talking about that. Okay, yeah.
Well, no, because 2019, he's still, the Ferrari was still okay.
Yeah.
Because, and that's not because I don't think he's good enough or whatever, but it's because at the tail end of his career, you're never going to get given a seat at one of the big boys. It was more about like preserving his legacy. Okay, he had the 4 dominant years at Red Bull. He then went to the Ferraris, who then eventually he was competing against Hamilton. And then the Ferrari clearly, the performance dipped.
Tailed off, yeah.
I just felt like that would have been a nice time to wrap it up.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do think he's going to be the first to retire this year.
Alonso?
No, I think Alonso's... If Alpine's are strong this year, I don't think he's going to want to give it up. If he's in a stronger car,
I think they're going to want Piastri.
I don't know. Then you'd have to look at Ocon then, wouldn't you?
But you're not going to get rid of your young driver.
No, but if you've got a driver in Alonso who's still willing and still putting out performances, in all honesty, he's still outperforming Ocon.
Yeah, no, he is.
So I don't know. I can't see Alonso retiring this year. Maybe next year, but I can see Vettel. Yeah,
Danny Rick.
No, I don't. He wants to go to Las Vegas, mate.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, people. Joe Weller, when's the next race?
This weekend.
Although someone else has actually asked, like, is there any reason for F1 being... It's not actually every 2 weeks. So he said, any reason for the F1 being every 2 weeks? Brand new to the sport and thought it was weekly. Sometimes it's weekly.
Sometimes it's every 3 weeks. I mean, over the summer break, you have a month off. Sometimes it's every 2 weeks.
It's quite upsetting. Every week would be nice.
Yeah.
But I think it's more a logistics thing, isn't it?
It's to do with the scheduling. It's also to give because what showed last year that actually mechanics were getting burnt out. It was so much work, doing weekly, races. I mean,
imagine going from Australia to Italy, and like they're working in that whole time. Like we only see the tip of the iceberg.
So much goes behind it, the logistics of actually carrying the freight from one area to another, and it's just so much hard work and a lot of. And it's we're a 23 race calendar this year.
Yeah, there's
23 races.
Yeah,
and that's going to increase, I believe, next year. So they need to, and that's why the season is extended to November, whereas normally it finished like October time, didn't it, beforehand?
Yeah.
But now, because we got so many more races on the calendar, they're having to try and sporadically spread out races and put races together. If you're in Europe,
that makes sense. Like we saw with Bahrain and Jeddah, they're next door to each other.
You may as well just complete those. But yeah, it's just to give mechanics more time off as well, with because they're away from their family for such long periods of time as well. It is relentless for that period, and you got to remember by the time they finish in November time, was it like December last year? Finished or November?
It was the end of November, beginning of December.
Because
one of those.
You got to remember, as soon as they finished, they only have like a week or so, a couple of weeks off, and then they're working on a new car.
Yeah.
So it's not even like they're getting, brilliant, we've got a month off now. No, they're literally, it's relentless.
Yeah.
But that's the reason why. But good question. I like it. That is the end of the podcast, guys. That is, what are we talking now? An hour and 13 minutes. Wow, it's amazing. But guys, I hope you're enjoying the podcast and keep commenting on things. Go and check us out on TikTok. We really enjoy, your comments, and as we said, we're doing this because we're having fun. We're having fun interacting with you guys, giving our opinions. Let us know what you think, or if you're watching on YouTube, comment down below. If you're listening on Spotify and iTunes or Apple Podcasts, leave us a rating. We really appreciate it. And let's hope for a Lewis Hamilton win this weekend, which is very unlikely, but ultimately it's a
wearing
good
a
race.
McLaren jumper.
Lando Norris podium. Yeah, Lando Norris podium. But guys, thank you very much for watching, and we shall catch you next week for a brand new podcast. Bye-bye.